I want to share something with you that literally has the potential to liberate you and give you a level of freedom that maybe you've never had before. Now, I know that might sound like a bold claim, but just stick with me and allow me to prove it to you. And the reason why I want to do this because I'm a firm believer that sometimes the very thing that brings you pain is the very thing that you become passionate about. And I know what time of year it is. I know what the season it is. And I'm somebody, before I learn what I'm going to share with you, like I've had goals and New Year's resolutions that I've had for years. And I know so many other people that's the same way. And think about this. How many people do you know that have the same New Year's resolution this year that they had last year, the year before that? Or how many people that you know that have the same goal? They've had the same goal for the last 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years and they're not alone. And here's the reality most of it is not even their fault. And the thing that I want to communicate to you and share with you is that you know what time of year it is. And the reality is this you cannot take the old you into the new year. Why do I say that? Because some people would disagree with me, like, I take myself wherever I want to. And the reality is this it is impossible and that's a bold claim. It is impossible to take the old you into the new year. Why do I say that? Because when you think about most people, and here's the thing, I'm not trying to like diminish people or act like I'm better than. No, I'm coming from a place of experience. Like I've been there before. And so that's why I can say that. But most people experience the exact same year over and over and over again because they're the same person. I don't care if you take somebody 20 years ago, they have the same exact New Year's resolution. The only thing that changed is the episodes of the TV shows that they watch. The years stay the exact same. Their life stay the exact same. And so the reason why it stayed the exact same, because the new year is something that they'll never experience because the old them keeps showing up. What do I mean when I say that? There's a concept called be, do, have. And most of us, and I used to be this way as well, most of us, we focus on the having and we focus on the doing, but we totally neglect the being. Now, whether you go to church or you believe the Bible or whatever, like that's totally irrelevant. But most people who are in any kind of dating relationship or have an interest in dating relationship, they've heard this term before. He who finds a wife finds a good thing. Now, I want you to really hear and pay close attention to that. He who finds a wife, meaning she already had to be a wife before he found her. She already was a wife before she got married. And how did she become a wife? Because that was in her being. Like that's who she was. That's the identity that she had before she ever got married. And then she made herself findable. And here's the reality. Most of us, we are something that is so incredible, so phenomenal, but we're not being that because we've been sold these lies and have identities and stories from our childhood of who we are and what we're not and who we are not. And so sometimes we become married to that and divorced from our destiny. And so we end up showing up the same exact way every single year to every single goal, to every single opportunity, to every single experience. And we keep experiencing the same thing over and over and over again, but we deeply desire something different. And we think that it's going to change because of what we do. It's like we think it's going to change because of what we have. And it's like, okay, if I only had this, then it would change. If I only was able to do this, then it would change. And it's like nothing ever changes until we do. Because even if the situation around us stays the exact same, even if our perspective changes, everything around us change. And it's like until we show up to be something different, we're going to experience the same exact thing and we're going to keep repeating the same life over and over and over again. And even though this sounds really simple, the reality is this: the truth is not always convincing. And sometimes the most simplest thing that we can do is the truth. The most complicated thing is the lie. And one of the biggest complications that most of us have is believing that greatness and the best that this life has to offer can actually happen to us. And that was something I struggled with for years. If you followed my channel, if you heard anything about my story, like I failed the third grade almost twice. I was labeled dyslexic. Mother and father was 14 and 15 when I was conceived. And so I was expected to be a failure. And so I lived in those stories so much of my life because of what somebody else's opinion of me had on my reality. But it's like once I divorce myself from their reality and from their opinion of me, then I start to truly walk into the purpose that I was called to and who I really am. And it's like I took off the old me and I put on the new me. And that's what I want to encourage you to do. Because whatever you want, whether it's a better body, whether it's more money, whether it's a better relationship, it doesn't matter what it is. It's like we tend to attract our equivalent. So whatever you are getting in your life right now, you're probably getting it because that's who you're being right now. And I'm not trying to be harsh. Again, I'm not trying to be like negatively judgmental. And I'm definitely not trying to act like I'm better than you because I've experienced so many of these different things from all different parts of the spectrum. And that's why I'm so close to this. And it's like when you truly become what you desire, then what you desire will be yours by default. Because we don't realize that a lot of times it's not us who demands things, it's our habits. And our habits is a result of our identity. Because we don't determine what we want in life, we determine our habits, and our habits determine what we get in life. And it's like when you show up as yourself, let's say you want to be a millionaire. Let's say you want to be a millionaire. When you show up as a millionaire way before the money comes, remember the wife. Remember, she was a wife before she ever got married. People that are millionaires, they're millionaires way before the money ever comes. Because the biggest thing is most people desire something that they can't be trusted with. And if you desire something that you can't be trusted with, you'll never get it. Or if you do get it, it's only a matter of time before you lose it because a part of you don't feel like you deserve it. And that's a part of your belief system. But it's like when you really step up and step into who you really are, and it's like that's who you are in your being, you're going to demand that as a lifestyle. So if you truly expect to be a millionaire, I'm just throwing that out there as an example, then guess what? Your life is going to be centered around all of what it takes to step in the identity of somebody who's a millionaire. Your language is going to change. Who you surround yourself is going to change. You know, how you act is going to change. The time you go to bed is going to change. The time you wake up is going to change. Like what you eat is going to change. And here's the thing, if you don't want to change all or any of those things, then you must be set aside with the result that you currently have. Because in order to get something that you have never gotten before, you have to do something different. And the further gap it is from what you want and where you currently are right now, that's all the more sacrifice that you're going to have to make. And here's the reality, it's not even a sacrifice, it's just putting in the work to do what you want. A sacrifice is when you do something that you don't want to do to get something that is really not going to benefit you directly. Like that's a sacrifice. But when it comes to getting something that you want, that's just putting in the work. But the old you cannot go into the new year. And it's like when you think about the new year does not start January 1st. It doesn't start July the 2nd. It doesn't start August the 3rd. The new year can start right now whenever you want it to. Because guess what? You determine that. It's all about your life and how you want it to be in the new you showing up. And here's reality. No matter when you decide to step into the fullness of who you really are, you're always welcomed. And so your new year and your new you can start right now. You don't need permission from anybody because that's one of the biggest problems. We seek permission from those who are just as stuck as we are. And I was in that place for a very long time. But when you stop seeking permission, when you stop needing validation, and when you truly allow yourself to show full up and play full out to who you really are, you live at a level of freedom because you don't need anybody's permission to truly be who you already are. And I'll tell you, when it comes to freedom, most people never get to freedom because freedom is simply when you have nothing to prove, nothing to hide, nothing to defend, and nothing to protect. And when you have those four things, that's freedom. And the new you wants to live in all of those different aspects. But to truly get to where you want to be, It first starts with you being the person who's worthy of having it. Wherever you want to get to in life, whatever you want to accomplish in life, whatever you want to acquire in life, it starts with your being. You think about somebody who's a mother, or a father. When their child is born, they do a lot of nurturing. They don't get a lot of rest. They bring them home. The baby's up every couple hours because they need to eat or go to the bathroom. That mother or their father is not getting up in the middle of the night because they feel like it. They're getting up in the middle of the night because they understand that this is what a mother does. This is what a father does. And I'm not just getting up for my son or daughter right now. I'm getting up because I'm raising a king or a queen on the other side. And this is just what they need right now to be what they are destined to be at some point in time in life. And I'm given the responsibility and opportunity to cause that to come to pass because that's in their being. Their being is a father, their being is a mother. It's not about what they feel. And it's like when you just take concepts like that and you think about your being, because it sounds so simple, and it is so simple. But when you think about your being, whatever you want, just ask yourself the question, who would I be? How would I show up? What would I sound like if I already possessed whatever I want? Again, if you take $1 million, if you were the person who already had $1 million, who would you have to be that person? Like, what do you sound like? Who do you hang around? What do you might have to do different than what you're currently doing in order to be the person to have that level of financial freedom, if you will? If $1 million is even freedom to you, period. But it's not about the dollar figure. Matter of fact, it doesn't matter what it is on the other side. It's totally irrelevant. It's more about who you are in your being. Because when you be that person, like I said, you're going to get whatever you want by default because your nature demands that. And the thing that I really want to communicate to you is the one of the best ways to truly be like who your true self, your authentic self, to acquire whatever you want on the other side. One of the best things you can do is always make your expectation greater than your temptation. So think about that for a minute. Always make your expectation greater than your temptation. Think about the mother example. That mom or that dad, they're probably tired. They got to go to work in the morning. That's probably tempting for them to just lay down and go back to sleep and hope that their baby just stops crying or somebody else gets it. But guess what? They make the expectation of themselves greater than the temptation of what they feel. And when we make the expectation of ourselves greater than what we feel, whatever we feel would never cause us to diminish what's on the other side of purpose. It's never going to cause us to stay stuck in a place because we feel like we deserve something. So many people feel like, you know what, I've been working all day or I've been grinding all day. Like this is my time to play and do whatever I want to do because they feel like that's deserved, like that's owed to them because that's what they feel. But it's not about how you feel. It's about your being. And it's like when you truly be the person, what you feel will follow. What you feel will change. And it'll start to change your belief system because the reality is this, like all behaviors follow beliefs. All behaviors follow beliefs. And so the way that your belief system change is when you act as if. And what do I mean when I say that? Act as if. Act as if you already have the money. Act as if you already have the body. Act as if you already have the best relationship in the world. Act as if your kids are doing everything that you want them to be. Act as if you're living the ultimate lifestyle right now. And it's like when you act as if, it's only a matter of time before the if becomes a reality. But when it comes to the new you is welcomed in the new year. But the old you, it can't come. Because the old you, the only thing that's going to do is it's going to sabotage everything on the other side. That's why it has to stay in a familiar space. And a familiar space is the old year that it continues to live over and over again. The one thing that people fear a lot is the unknown. And people would rather stay in known hells than to explore unknown heavens. Because at least this pain, at least this abuse, at least these abusers, at least they're familiar to me. But when I go over here, I don't know what that entails. I don't know what can happen over there. Even though over there is freedom. Even though there is fulfillment. Even though over there is everything that they want, but it's just unfamiliar. And they don't know what that's like. Because at least over here, this pain is predictable. I can control it. I know exactly when it's going to hurt me. And I know exactly what that pain feels like because I felt it for so many years. And that's the reality of so many people. And this is not just about domestic violence. People stay stuck in abusive relationships on so many different levels. People have a very unhealthy and abusive relationship, even with money. Like it's not even just people. People also have a very unhealthy relationship, even with food. So when I'm talking about relationships, I'm not even just talking about people, but people are very familiar with whatever their choice of abuse is. Because sometimes we don't realize as a people, as humans, we're volunteer victims. And we fall victim to a lot of things by way of our choices. Because that's really what we're victim of. We're victims of our own choices. And I just want to encourage you to focus on who you are and your being and like step up and be that person. And when it comes to the new year, whatever that looks like for you, whatever that even means to you, because there's arguments even about calendars, and it's not a video about that period, but it's about you and whatever you want that you don't currently have. It's critical for you to become somebody who's actually able, willing, and deserving to acquire that and maintain it. Because it's one thing to get it, but can you keep it? And when it comes to lifestyle, lifestyle ensures that you not just get it, maintain it, but lifestyle demands that you keep it. And that's what you really want. So I just want to really encourage you to focus on like who you are in your being, become that, and ask yourself the question and really think through what this actually is in terms of whatever you want on the other side. Who would I be? How would I have to live? What would I have to do in order to possess XYZ, whatever it is for you, or to attract XYZ, or to obtain whatever that is for you? But really ask yourself that question, and more importantly, go after what the answers are when you come up with them for yourself. Because guess what? Whatever answers that you ask, whatever answer that you're after, it's within you. I know that might sound cliche, but it's so true. So even when you think about questions, like questions and answers, both rest in the same person because you got this. And the only thing that you need to do is just tap into the new you. And the new you is going to introduce you to a whole new world, a whole new life, and a whole new opportunity of what truly can be your experience as a lifestyle on a daily basis.